decent. Can you hear me also talking? Alright.
I can't even. Oh. I just heard your voice.
Okay.
So it's
We're all good. Yeah, I have a delay in... Cool. Alright. Maybe you can monitor the chat for me.
Yeah. People are gonna hear this.
That's fine. Alright, so yeah, this game is... I've been playing this game since I was like 6 years old, maybe. Back on, my dad bought a, when he bought my family's first PC, it was a Compaq, and we had Windows 95, and the demo for Descent came in this folder. I would play this a lot. I never really never bought the actual game until it came out for Steam. The full game, so I never had play. I only played up to level 10, which is what the demo only covered. Video games is always good.
Self-destruct sequence activated.
I can still remember playing this and smelling that smell that old CRT monitors used to give off. It's just kind of coupled with the graphics and everything. It's a very unique memory. But oh, okay. Do you hear that?
I can hear you better now, yeah.
Oh, okay, great.
Oh, another person also said the same thing.
Good, good. Yeah, we're just figuring out all the little hiccups. This is one of those games where it was just kind of funny. My parents wouldn't let me play Doom, but I could play this because it was robots. It's like demons, I guess. How's that? Level design is just like branded into my brain. It practically almost fly blind at this point.
welcome, welcome. Glad to catch up on one of these streams.
Hey, Harry. Yeah, I was just chatting with him on Discord.
Oh.
I told him I was gonna start a Descent stream or a gaming stream. Glad that you have me. Yeah, out of all the computer games I would play as a kid, this was number one, along with stuff like the Humongous Entertainment stuff like Pajama Sam. Very different. And then eventually Medal of Honor, we had a few of those, but wasn't really a heavy PC gamer. Sometimes I'll play this when I'm in between working on some other stuff. Okay. I did not, yeah. I've not seen that. Might have to check that out. There's just something really fun about flying in zero-G and just like strafing around the target while firing at them. Usually when I play this game, I'm usually playing my own music that I figured because I'm streaming, I'll just put the original game soundtrack on it.
Love that there's a Metroid-style escape sequence.
Yeah. Yeah, it's set on Ace skill level, which is one underneath the hardest, which is insane. And insane almost sometimes drains the fun out of it. Like Ace is just at the level of difficulty right now where like I think the enemies are kind of fun to fight. Yeah, I played Descent 2 so far, but Descent 1 is still my favorite. I don't know, something about having a whole bunch of extra game mechanics and some features added sometimes just kind of overwhelms what I really enjoyed about the original. But Descent 2 is pretty fun. Playing this through the DXX Rebirth, which is basically like you can if you get the Steam version, then you download this and you get yeah, it's like a revamped game you play through that. But I'm not always up on all the technical details about it. If it works, it works. Although you might notice, I think at the bottom of the screen. No, it's good. Okay, it's just playing the full. On my, I did something on my desktop. Where every time I open Descent, it's not entirely full screened, but it looks like it's streaming in full screen, which is good from the app itself. I hit a button when I was exiting the game one time, and now it's a mystery. But yeah, now I got the spread fire cannon, which is good for close range. It's actually really satisfying to hit one of the drones with them, and they get kicked back. I really like the robot design in this game. They're not too, they're not overcomplicated. And, a bunch of them have that, those eyes, eyes that go back and forth like the Cylons. Some of them kind of remind me of Maximilian, the robot from the Black Hole. Also because they all hover. I wonder if any original concept art exists for this game anymore. And I think when you're playing on Insane, the robots do get a little more... They're more aggressive and they're more outgoing, so sometimes they'll come and find you. Which can make things a little unnerving.
Said, can the game's volume be adjusted?
Gotcha.
So maybe, is there a way to turn down the game's music? Sound effects.
Yeah. I'll see if that works.
Yeah, let's try like shooting a bunch and I'll go in there.
Yeah, hopefully that fixes it. My volume was competing with that one. Yeah, I knew this place like the back of my hand. Definitely. Played this so many times. Oh, duh. Duh for me, anyway. Okay, yeah, I think... Alright, so now I got the red chip. Which, yeah, I guess, okay. Yeah, so they have these spawning sites for the enemies, and they will get as you can see. And then there's a heavier guy, which I just took out. Great.
Since you brought it up before, The Black Hole, that is a fascinating film. To be honest, Joe Dante was way too hard on it. He called it one of the worst films ever.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I agree. I mean, not with Joe Dante, but I agree that he was way too harsh, because he said it was the worst movie that they ever had on Trailers from Hell, which is that channel that he made, which they just have like people doing running commentary over movie trailers, which is a cool channel. But I was like, really, the Black Hole, like, out of everything, that's what you think is the worst? But yeah, it was. Yeah. No, I love the Black Hole. That's one of my also like childhood favorite movies, which is weird, but it's very mysterious, and just the atmosphere and a lot of it is really really impressive. There's actually a really good video about it by Rob Ager, who you probably know. He does a lot of the sort of film symbolism analysis videos, but he really kind of has some cool insight, and he did a really good one about the Black Hole. Rob Ager, he's got some cool stuff. I've been watching him since 2011, 2010. He was when he was doing videos about The Shining, and some of that stuff, you know, seems a little like reaching, like the thing in the elevator door when it opens up, something falls out, but like, you know, watching that at the time was like really kind of fascinating.
Harry Henry also says, you're with Edgar Wright. He loved The Black Hole since he was a kid.
Oh, that's great.
And he also says, oh yeah, Rob, is it Ager?
Yeah.
He says, oh yeah, Rob Ager. I don't agree with everything, especially his politics, but he's still got plenty of food for thought.
Yeah, no, he's a really interesting guy, and he's just very confident in, like, you know, his assertions and all. Makes it more interesting, I think. So what you got here is you have your laser levels. You got 4 laser levels that you build up, and you know, they have different strength. I usually like to, eventually when I get the quad lasers, that's like my mainstay. Just really fun to shoot those, but eventually you kind of just use the fusion cannon, which is sort of like the big gun later on. They came up with some pretty creative weapons in Descent 2 as well, like weapons with ammunition that bounces off walls, and sort of like ones that cause a chain reaction with multiple enemies. But I remember as a kid being really excited, like finding the different weapons and items and stuff. Like that's always fun, like the first few times around, because it's like a treasure hunt. I think I'm probably gonna play till level 6. Yeah, just make this a nice short test stream. But and level 6 is where probably the most frustrating enemy in the game is. Maybe the most frustrating. There's a cloaked guy. Oh, there they are. Essentially, these guys, they hack and they slash. Yeah, the black hole. I was actually looking at. They had some. They were selling original production artwork from that on Heritage Auctions recently. All right, you guys, you're getting on my. There we go. Some original paintings by Peter Ellenshaw for the black hole, and they're just beautiful. They're very painterly, very sketchy, but. Yeah, they were just really beautiful. I wish I could have forked over like a couple $1,000 to have one of those hanging in my living room. Have the USS Cygnus or the Palomino. That one. They had the concept art of the other spaceship. There, that was cool. But yeah, Heritage Auctions is a really cool website, auction site, because it's good for artists because you can see some high-res images of paintings, and they do a lot of comic art auctions, so you can look at some really nice original comic art up close. And it's just really nice to be able to see what some of these artists did with the page, what they put, like, what didn't, you know, show through when it was photographed and printed and all, you know, all the screen tone or the whiteout they used. Sometimes you can see like certain areas were them adding white instead of adding ink.
Harry also says, by the way, this stream is weird timing because the developer, now known as Volition, has been moved over to Gearbox after a disappointing Saints Row reboot.
Oh wow! I didn't even know they were. They became that. Yeah, I sometimes like stay up to date with like stuff going on in video games because it's very interesting. I just don't play a lot of video games, but it's fun to hear about them. I did play a lot as a kid, usually like Nintendo stuff. We had, I think, almost every Nintendo console growing up, even the Virtual Boy. It's still in my parents' garage. And we would have friends coming over, and like we'd show them it, and everybody would take turns like kneeling on the ground with the Virtual Boy on the coffee table with the tripod, and people just watching, you know, each other look ridiculous. And then like after they like come away from it, they're like blinking and they're kind of like rubbing their head. Like, why did I do that to myself? But it was really cool though when you got the 3D effect when you're playing Mario Tennis and you can move forward and back in space. It was like, it was really cool. And something, just the red graphics, I just thought was really cool. Oh, I gotta go in here. I've got a Game Boy Advance SP, original Game Boy. I think a Game Boy Color sitting around somewhere, and then the original DS, which each of them has some problems which would probably be easily fixed if I knew anything about circuit boards and soldering and all that. Whew. They are plenty. actually one more mention of the Black Hole. The soundtrack is one of my favorite soundtracks, and that was one of the first things when I started soundtrack collecting. Eventually, that was like kind of coincided with them restoring the original master tapes for those, and that whole thing, that was actually like a ordeal in itself, because it was the first digitally recorded film score, and so, you know, to actually transfer the tapes, they had to use one of the original machines, and so, oh shoot, I'm out of energy. I gotta use the Vulcan cannon. Whoa. Yeah, and so they had to find like maybe one of the last 3M digital tape machines. I think the place they were transferring the tapes in flooded, but it didn't affect the transfer. Like it almost did, but and that would have been a terrible loss, because I think me and a lot of other people were really wanting those that soundtrack to get released. Unfortunately, it did in a complete form. Let's see. So this is level 5. This one is a bit involved.
Bot accounts or whatever.
Oh no.
Left a chat, like one of those like dating things, like disgusting, like.
Oh no. Well, yeah, it's probably gonna happen.
For the few people who might be watching, don't fall for it. I left a bunch of like little dots in the chat to try to get rid of it.
Thank you, Megan.
But YouTube only lets you like.
Oh yeah.
Put it so much that I don't know if other people can like see that it's pushed away.
Oh well.
Yeah. I always see those like hot girls in your area want to chat, little text in the stream on like the background music like streams, like I'll listen to you know, like November jazz background music streams. Oh, Harry Henry says, I saw and reported the spam. Hope you got my previous comment. Okay, let's see the previous comment.
Oh, thanks, Henry.
Previous comment. Oh, here it is. There's also a great video about The Black Hole by Cecil of good, bad flicks that's worth a watch.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he really did his research on that one. I was really impressed, because there were some things that even I didn't even know about the production. My friend Joel, who's like my partner in crime, kind of on film-related stuff, he bought me the Cinefantastique double issue on the Black Hole, which is amazing because it has a lot of behind the scenes, a lot of concept art, and a lot of stuff on the making of. But yeah, Joel of the Cinemologists, or formerly known as the Cinemologists, now we're Cinemology 101, and we are just about to wrap up working on the last part of the Cordwainer Smith documentary. It's literally like a tiny piece that needs putting in, that we're waiting on, but yeah, it's practically all done. It's just like one of those things where the cloaking device, where yeah, it's just like
Metalcore Saline says, get some more. ... Hi.
hello.
And then Harry Henry says, interesting that there were some continuations of the story and merchandise that didn't get super far.
Oh yeah, there is a comic book. I actually have it somewhere. It's in my box of comics, but it's they did like I think maybe a 2 or 3 issue kind of sequel where they come out on the other side of the black hole and there's this other planet, and then there's I think a good version of Reinhardt. Thought I had him, and then he had one more shot left on him. The red guys, I think they're called Super Hulks or something. Like all the robots in the game have really, and then I just got quad lasers, which is great. All the robots in the game have very distinct noises they make when you're around them, and then like those red guys who are kind of like Maximilian from the black hole, and they do make a similar noise also, this very like wah 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 kind of noise, and once you hear that, even if you don't see them, you know to be on the lookout, because they shoot out homing missiles, and it's very hard to evade those, if at all. Yeah, with the quad lasers, these kind of guys, it's like nothing. But and in the next level, level 6, there's an enemy which has probably the most distinct and feared sound. Other than movies and stuff, I just finished reading Hot House by Brian Aldiss today. If you don't know Brian Aldiss, he's a science fiction author who's mainly, I think lately his claim to fame was, he won a Hugo for Hot House, but he wrote the short story Super Toys Last All Summer, which was the basis for AI, the film that Kubrick was trying to make and then eventually passed on to Steven Spielberg. But Hot House is just this whole other it's magnificent. It's sort of a dying Earth story, but set on an Earth that's no longer rotating, so that one side is sunlit and the other side is in night, and the sunlit side is just filled with overgrown vegetation that have become kind of sentient. And then you're following sort of these like humans, the descendants of humans that are surviving, where literally everything's trying to kill them. And yeah, it's magnificent because all this just keeps introducing new ideas in every chapter and keep moving around and exploring this world, and it's just a really wild adventure. So yeah, highly recommend Hot House. It definitely inspired a lot of things, like Nausicaa, the Valley of the Wind, and some things like that. The great Phil Stankus, the animator, the great Phil Stankus, he introduced that to me. He actually gave me a copy, because that's how badly he wanted me to. He recommended it. How much he recommended it.
Recommendation: Afterman, a zoology of the future by Gal Dixon, exploring what mammals could evolve into 50 million years from now.
Ooh. Oh, my high school library had that book, and I remember flipping through it, and it was like super weird. Yeah, I've heard talk of that floating around the internet lately. Seems like it's gone through a renaissance.
He also said, yeah, it's a part of the speculative evolution genre, which is its own fascinating rabbit hole. And then Phil's on here, he says, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I finished it today, Phil. Yeah, thank us. Yeah, Phil. Yeah, Phil and I used to go, we went to University of the Arts.
Hey, so did I.
Yeah. My wife Megan did, and we all, yeah, she's an animator too, so we were all animators, and I was not an animator, actually. I was a film major, but I hung out with the animators so much that I basically became an animator because the film students were some of the most boring people I've ever met.
There's
But
a couple of good ones.
there were a few good ones, and they were the ones who, like, I actually, like, you know, would talk to outside of class. But the animators, you know, that was the happening place to be on their floor.
Yeah, we had a bunch of people, like some of the illustrators would hang out on our floor. One graphic designer.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone just assumed Alex was in animations. He's always hanging out with the animators.
Yeah, no, it's a really fun, it was a fun time, it was a crazy time. It was the worst of times. Yeah.
The animation floor was always fun and chill. Like, you'd have people just streaming cool movies or, I don't know, just having like a Mario Kart, like, championship or something.
Yeah. That was cool.
Phil says, woo! And then Harry Henry says, Last and First Men by Olaf Stapledon
Oh.
is also a part of it. If you've read that. And then Phil says, and people sleeping in the computer lab next door. Yes. Yeah, people.
Hold on a second, Megan. Hold on, let me respond.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, Harry. Yeah, good recommendation. I've read Star Maker by Stapleton, and that was immense, to say the least. So yeah, that's a good one. I'll have to check that out. Yeah, people would sleep in the Cintiq room, or just basically anywhere they could find, like a nook or cranny where the security guard wouldn't catch them. I remember, I never did that. I would always, you know, for me it was always more important to get sleep and take care of myself.
I think I only slept in the animation, like, in the building once, like, stayed there. Because, like, at the end of the year, while the animators were finishing up their theses, they just let people... The building was open 24/7. They're like, you know, you guys need to live here.
Yeah.
But me and my roommate, we both really cherished our sleep. So I think, like, past, like, a certain time, we just wouldn't, you know, like, stay up and, like, work anymore. Because, like, at that point,
Right.
you know, you're gonna be so drowsy and your work's gonna look bad. It's
Yeah.
better to get some sleep, get up early.
You'd be compromising that, so anyway. But yeah, so yeah, Phil Stankus is a world-class animator who did a lot of stuff with there. Yeah, let's see.
Let's see, Harry Henry says, speaking of animation, there's actually stop-motion sequences of the animals from Afterman made in Japan. They're on YouTube and look beautiful.
Wow, of course, Japan, they do cool stuff like that.
And then Phil says, if not having a breakdown because Flash crashed. Yeah, the amount of, one of my friends would always say, like, save party, like, every now and then, or just, like, I think, like, the upperclassmen, like, would just say save party, and it would remind everyone just to, in that moment, save their file, and, like, that just carried on to, like, the next generation of students, and I hope they're still doing that, just...
Yeah, they ought to get, like, an engraved plaque that just says save on the wall. Tattoo, yeah.
This Wegmans orange juice is really good.
It is? Yeah.
You wanna try it?
Yeah.
Phil says, sleep is definitely the better policy, but when I had to sleep over, my strategy was to lay across 3 chairs underneath one of the desks. So, Phil, I once avoided a security guard who walked all the way around the table.
Nice.
That's great, Phil.
Nice, Phil.
Yeah. Let's
Okay,
see.
so this is the driller, and this is, like, one of the worst enemies in the game because they fire a Vulcan cannon, and that can, like, instantly hit you from far away. And they'll just, like, come screeching at you. Sometimes they're very aggressive. So when you're playing like the higher difficulty levels, you know, you can just like really get taken. I mean, I've gotten scared, like literally scared by one before.
You know, Phil, if you wanted to hide from the security guards, you should have just taken out one of the dragon rooms and stuck in there.
They get stuffy in there though. Yeah.
For anybody listening who doesn't know what a dragon room is,
Yeah.
It's like the program for like if you were to animate something on paper, you know, you get this whole contraption together where you put a camera, you know, above, you know, like your paper. It's like mounted, and yeah, you take a picture of the first frame, take it off, take a picture of the next frame. And like they had these rooms, these nice dark rooms that were sealed. You couldn't hear anything, and yeah, there'd be a computer there set up with the, you know, the program and already, yeah, set up with the mount and the camera. It was really nice. You had to sign them out. And yeah, if someone was in there, it was always locked. Even if someone wasn't in there, it was always locked because there was something in there. Phil. Oh wait. Okay. Apathesis0, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, says, this is an oldie. Yes, it is. And then Phil says, you're right, though. Yeah.
It is.
And then he says, no windows in those rooms, so you lost all sense of time in there. Very true, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like getting those, like, dark curtains for your room. What are those called?
Blackout curtains.
Blackout curtains, except for, like, the whole... It's... Yeah.
There's one of those guys. Yeah. I feel like for those guys' sounds, they like sped up a pig's like squeal. It's very unsettling.
Harry Henry says, what do you think of fan projects like Render 96 for Mario 64 or the new HD renders for Mario Kart 64? I appreciate the effort done to stick to that old 90s CG render look. Too many fan mods tend to make them look too modern and inauthentic. Yeah,
no, I agree. I think it's a good, it's a well thought, like it's a good idea to do that, and I really appreciate that they were able to pull it off so well. And the thing is, yeah, like a lot of ones try to invent too much, you know, extra, and I think what I love about old CG graphics is how they would they would only go so far with the detail, and I think sometimes it's nice to just kind of like let it be a little unrealistic. And when you're playing Super Mario 64, it's very unrealistic, and your mind kind of comes up with things that go in between all the details. And yeah, no, I think stuff like that. Yeah, I think that the projects like that where they have a good sort of idea of what they're doing are pretty cool. Yeah, these guys, let's see, blue. Oh yeah, okay, so it's.
It's like, no, I want this to look like it was rendered on a Silicon Graphics workstation.
Yeah, I like CG that isn't trying to emulate either 2D animation or reality, like in that sense, like trying to have some plausible movement but is being its own thing. For instance, I really love the movie Tron. I think it's a wonderful film, and a lot of people are like, gosh, yeah. So these guys shoot all these little floaty spider guys who can be very obnoxious. But Tron, a lot of people lob this criticism at Tron, where it's like, well, the CGI is really not great. And I'm just thinking, well, hang on, you're going inside the computer world in 1982. What else is it supposed to look like? I just think it's think it's great, and it's a beautifully like metaphysical movie. I love what they do because it's not. I don't know. I think it's way more poetic than any other movie about like the computer world or like interacting with technology. Is like Joel can tell you all about this, but I think that a lot of discussion about Tron really, I don't know, just isn't coming at it from the right angle. I remember Red Letter Media, they did a review on Tron, and they picked like the two worst people to review it. They picked Rich and Jack. We were like, okay, yeah, they do the previously recorded the gaming guys, but like they were not the right people to talk about that movie. They even like hated on the music, and I'm like, the music is great. It's got Wendy Carlos, who was a great, synth pioneer who actually like is classically trained and good at composing, in like making synth music in conjunction with the London Symphony Orchestra. And if you listen to that score, it's just some amazing use of both worlds, basically. There's some. Oh gosh. I died.
Oh no.
Oh.
Okay, Harry Henry says, I think my childhood love of Pixar gave me an appreciation for that early CG look, thanks to their early shorts like Luxo Jr. But did you want to comment on that at all before I read more?
Oh, yeah, no, oh my gosh. I really like Toy Story and those early ones. I do like that aesthetic. Where it it wasn't all like about like look at the crazy like engines we like mapped out, like the snow or the hair and stuff. It was more just like they're basically kind of doing what CG at the time could do best, and that was like kind of make inhuman textures like plastic, so basically fit for toys. But that's a whole thing.
Phil says, on a somewhat similar note, we were talking the other day about how the dated CG in The Matrix actually works better for the film's themes. Yeah, it definitely does.
Yeah. Yeah, if it's like, that's the thing, like the 90s CG and stuff, it is, oh my gosh. It is otherworldly in a way. Of course, there's times when it's supposed to be, it's attempting to be integrated with something like reality, and that's when it fails the most. But I'm glad they're all just coming out for me to shoot them. But yeah, no, Phil's right.
See, Harry Henry, there was a documentary on props from Tron on the Disney Plus show Prop Culture,
Ooh.
and they actually feature a matte painting from the film that's really cool. The office cubicles was matte painting.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, that one. Yeah, that's such a cool shot. And it kind of reminds, that's also kind of a nostalgic movie too, because I grew up watching that, and my dad worked in an office that looked a lot like that, and he worked with big computers and stuff like that. So I remember him talking about that when we would watch the movie, like how another thing, like he would have to wear like a winter jacket when they'd be in this one room with some of the computers, because they had to like keep it cooled down, basically. Which, if you've seen End of Evangelion, there's that scene of Misato hacking into the computer, and like her breath is showing. Because it's probably because the room is being cooled for the so that the computers don't overheat.
Harry Henry says director Steve Lisberger is also featured. Apparently he's into wood carving now, and he jokes that he was digital in an analog world. Now he's an analog guy in a digital world.
That's cool. Yeah, he's an interesting guy. Like, he didn't really do much else after Tron. He did this one film called Slipstream, which is a really neat premise. Like, I think it's like the surface of the Earth is basically kind of uninhabitable because of these high-speed winds, but like people are using these gliders to kind of get through these canyons and stuff, and Mark Hamill's in it. And Elmer Bernstein did a really good score for that, so that's what I know. But yeah, that and Tron, which I'm glad Disney actually bothered to make a good Blu-ray release of that. And that's it's probably only because they made Tron Legacy that they did that. Because, you know, they tend to let some of those classics kind of go unreleased. But, like, you have to, if you want some of those other films on Blu-ray, like The Black Hole or 20,000 Leagues even, you gotta be a member of the Disney Movie Club, which it's not that much of a hassle, and it's kind of neat, but, you know, you really wish that they would put more effort and just show that they kind of care about their legacy. Yeah.
MD Chaos says, "Whoa, Alex is streaming Descent based."
Hey.
Also, Alex, long time no see.
Yeah, hey, how's it going?
And then Harry Henry says he also directed Animal Olympics, an early favorite of the furry fans.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing. Well, look at me. Oh, Animal Olympics. I grew up watching that on the Disney Channel. That was one of my favorites, actually. And it was really funny because I'm not a furry, but I feel like I watched everything. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's not. It's just kind of like it just didn't happen to become one. I watched a lot of things like The Lion King. That I was really into when I was growing up, but just a lot of things that are cited as sort of inciting pieces of media, and Animal Olympics was one of them. But it was just cool. It was just fun, animals and some neat animation. There was some trippy stuff with like this one sequence. I forget, it was like an otter who surfboards, and he there's like this neat sequence during that. But yeah, Disney Channel used to show stuff like that regularly. They were cool.
Oh, it's just Phil. Does AP Latanzi is furry? The rumor come out. And then MD Chaos says, never saw the movie, but Animal Olympics has a really good soundtrack.
Oh yeah, I thankfully Marty McFly's, who I'm sure a lot of people know from his YouTube channel, 'cause he uploaded that rip of the LP. Yeah, it's good.
Doing God's work.
It's true. I'm so grateful for a lot of the stuff that Marty's uploaded. Like, if it wasn't for him, I would never have known about the Gwyn Saga Image albums, which is one of my favorite musical discoveries of the past few years. Like, oh my gosh. I think I'll do one more level, yeah. Because this actually like wraps up like the first section, the seventh level. But yeah, the Gwyn Saga Image albums are so cool, because they start off like a lot of synth and some acoustic, and then they get more acoustic and then symphonic, and the compositions are really, really good. The orchestrations and everything in them.
Harry Henry says it belongs alongside Twice Upon a Time in terms of obscure films with a shockingly solid.
Oh, yeah. I never saw Twice Upon a Time. That was always getting... I always saw, like, previews for that.
And then Melody Chaos says, I'm semi-acquaintances with Marty, actually, which is very cool.
Yeah.
And then Harry Henry says, Twice Upon is the only time Henry Selick and David Fincher ever lived. Henry Selick is great.
Yeah.
And then MD Chaos says, forgot how bass the music in Descent is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty good, actually.
Henry Selick looked on a new film that came out on Netflix. Oh, what's it called?
I actually forget. I don't even...
Wendell
Wendell.
and Wild?
Wendell.
Wendell!
Okay, but
I That's what it's called?
Yeah, Wendell and I think wow or something. For some, people who don't know, Wendell's is like a UArts in joke. In Philly, there used to be this Wendy's on I think it was either Sansom or one of the streets, and it was just. It was a little rougher. the Wendy's was a little rougher, and the sign on like for the Wendy's, the kind of like the signage, kind of the color was starting to peel around Wendy's face, and so it looked like she had like 5 o'clock shadow. And so we called it Wendell. It was just like, I'm Wendell. Come on. But anyway, yeah, that's what Wendell's is. I think I got a picture of that somewhere.
The movie is called Wendell and Wild. That would be the only reason for us to subscribe back to Netflix.
I don't know. I wasn't too interested in it.
I like Henry.
I know. Yeah, I know you. Yeah.
It's like if his name is on something, I'm like, okay, sure, I'll watch it.
Yeah, we all have those directors.
And then NGKS says, forgot. Oh wait, the Kaiju Master 200X says, what's up?
Hey.
And then MGKS says, bit of a loaded question, but I really liked your vid on fascism in 1950s sci-fi.
Oh,
so
thanks.
I'm somewhat wondering if you would something for that for some 70s anime. Not sure how that sentence is supposed to come
Oh, like a kind of like a more cultural, social analysis of some 70s anime, I guess.
Oh wait, so he's probably saying, so I'm somewhat wondering if you would make something for that, but like for 70s anime?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I'm not as like, I don't have a lot of like research material for 70s anime. Like, a lot of stuff is sort of like untranslated, I think. You know, like I could write something about, I'm sure so much has been written about like Zeon in Mobile Suit Gundam. But I don't know, yeah, I don't think I would, just because right now I don't have a concrete idea of what that would be, but something else like might crop up. Like I never know.
And yeah, says I personally babysit like ones that would be most interested in talking about is Gundam, Yamato, and Harlock in that regard, and probably a few others.
Yeah, I might be able to talk about Harlock at some point, because I've seen that show multiple times and I love it. And if I watch it a third time, I'll probably go take notes and see if I have a thesis after that. But yeah, no, maybe.
The Kaiju Master 200X says, what are some topics you plan on covering in the future? Your video on otaku culture was excellent.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that was, oh gosh. Rookie mistake. Jumped at it without even looking. Yeah, thank you. That video was one of the most involved ones I've ever done, because I actually appear on camera, and yeah, my friend Joel helped me with that. We even used like lav mics and everything, and I was freezing cold on camera segments because we were outside in like January or December, and I was like sipping hot chocolate in between takes. But that was yeah, I did a lot of research. And what was the beginning part of the question, if there was?
Oh, the beginning part. What are some topics you plan on covering in the future?
I've run through a lot of the stuff I'd like to talk about. I'm sure there's always other stuff that pops up. For instance, I might do a video talking about the musician Scott Walker, who has a very that was close. Who has a very interesting kind of like musical evolution, and his stuff is linked with cinema a lot of times. So I've been kind of trying to solidify a thesis about that. But yeah, at the moment, I'm kind of in between topics basically. But I want to do more anime stuff, and I'm just waiting for something that I feel confident enough in to talk about. Because I don't want to just wing something because I like it. You know, I want to have something substantial to say. Harlock, yeah, again, might be it. But also I need to watch Yamato. Like, it's horrible. I know it's horrible that I haven't seen it. Oh my gosh. I didn't know they could turn that sharp. But I've watched the first couple episodes, and I really got into it, and I remember my animation teacher at my first college I went to, Delaware College of Art and Design. He had a Yamato cell hanging in his office, which was cool. I'm gonna die soon if I don't get more health.
I will not die.
No, I will not die.
MD Chaos says, I think Ideon and Future War 198X would be good ones. You seem pretty knowledgeable of history and lore from what you've spoken about in your vids.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, Future War 1980X. I actually haven't seen it. I listened to the soundtrack because it's really good, but I have to see that one. Ideon, I could definitely say something about probably on another go through, because I did mention it briefly in one of my recent videos, the one on Cosmic Horror.
Harry Henry says, doesn't hump that a lot of current anime YouTube videos are bad, or at least very misinformed by relying on fan consensus instead of new research.
Right.
As in like Ghost Stories.
Yeah.
As a prime example.
Okay. Yeah, that's why I don't do a lot of anime videos, because the stuff I want to talk about, it's very hard to get good sources for, because a lot of stuff is not translated. And, you know, I'm probably not gonna learn to speak or read Japanese anytime soon. For instance, I have wanted to do a video about Macross Do You Remember Love for a while, and it's just like, the main thing holding me back is I need more research. For instance, I have scans of the Gold Book, the big art book that has all these designs and all these interviews with people, but you know, I can't read it, so it's funny, Joel and I got a comment a while ago from somebody who said that they had translated the whole Gold Book, Macross Gold Book, and said that like they would mail us to like this binder of like the translations, and like we were like, yes, please do, but they never got back to us. So I was like, oh well.
The Kaiju Master 200X says, I rewatched Ideon be invoked recently. It still hits hard.
Oh my gosh. Let me tell you, the few live-action movies have hit me like that movie hits me. It's like, it really, like, it's so palpable, the tension in that film. Like, the nearest thing to it in like anime is End of Evangelion, and I think that approaches it, but it really doesn't have the same impact of Be Invoked. Yeah, that movie is really special.
MDKS says, I guess to what you said, I've never seen Future War 1980X. That's okay, everyone hasn't. It's the movie with the god tier Noriyoshi Orai poster art.
Yeah.
And then Harry Henry says, oh, that Macross movie. I saw and really enjoyed it years ago. Former lad people.
Oh, yeah.
And then MDKS says, Ideon Be Invoked, in my opinion, is the best animated movie ever.
It's up there. It absolutely is. You know, and it's probably not like on more people's lists of it, because you kind of have to watch the series to get the full impact. But I think, I mean, you can still really, it's still emotionally impactful, even if you haven't seen the series. Alright, let's see, I have to...
Harry Henry says, sadly, the main guy there turned out to be bad, but I'm still glad I saw it. Wait. I'm gonna try to forget this because I haven't seen the movie. I don't want any spoilers.
I know, yeah, my wife and I are still gonna go through Idion, but...
Okay, hold on. Okay, Patrick Lehigh says, I think if you could see into
Transmetropolitan?
Transmetropolitan.
Wait,
oh my God.
what was the message?
Oh, I think you could sink into Transmetropolitan. It is only print, but has so much.
Oh yeah, the comic. It's a comic. Okay.
And then Kaiju Master 200X says, also, any more thoughts regarding the 9 animated films for Criterion Video? A lot of the films present are severely underrated.
Wait, what was the beginning of that one?
Okay, he said, also, any more thoughts regarding the 9 animated films for Criterion Video?
That goes way back.
Films present are severely underrated.
Yeah, let's see. The Anime Rama trilogy has been released, partly by one company, and then, Discotech did the, Arabian Nights and the, Cleopatra, and a company named Cinelicious, did, release Belladonna. There still needs to be a good Svankmajer, Blu-ray release, because there isn't one. And I forget, what some of the... Plague Dog's got a Blu-ray release, thankfully. It was the director's cut as well. Transmetropolitan?
Well, I'm reading it the way that...
Oh, okay, so maybe it's not what I'm thinking of, or, yeah. I'm not sure, actually.
Well, let me... Harry Henry says, by main guy, I mean the people who put on the film, not in the film itself.
Oh.
Sorry, I wasn't clear enough. That's okay, Harry Henry. But I don't know anything about that.
In reference to Idion, or... Is that in reference to Idion, or Do You Remember Love?
Maybe it's Macross, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, actually...
I saw and really enjoyed it years ago with former WAD people. Sadly, the main guy there turned out to be bad, but I'm still glad I saw it. By main guy, I mean the people who put on the film, not...
Oh, so yeah, I don't know.
That was there.
I don't know anything about that, yeah.
And then Phil says, still waiting on a physical release of Yankovic's Tragedy of Man.
Yeah, that's, gosh. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die. I don't wanna die. Whew, okay. Anyway, yeah, Tragedy of Mankind. Okay, the red guy is now looking for me, probably, so...
Harry Henry says, when it comes to Japanese sources, I have heard Deep L has gotten really good with auto-translating articles, though still not perfect. Is it better than Google Translate?
I'll have to try it.
Patrick Lehigh says, sorry, spell checker is P-I-T-A. Yep, I am talking about Spider Jerusalem, one of my must-reads.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
What is PITA? P-I-T-A?
PTA. Paul Thomas Anderson? Let's see if I can take this out. I remember, and I died. That's okay. I got plenty of lives.
I think maybe PITA is pain in the
Oh,
Maybe that's
maybe.
Okay, so let me read that again. Sorry, spell checker is a. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
In context, it makes sense. Yeah. Hello.
Man, I am old. I was like, what is pizza?
Yeah, the I imported, Joel and I and someone else imported a Blu-ray of Macross Do You Remember Love? Back when the first Blu-ray came out, and then currently I have it. We would occasionally like lend it back and forth, but I think eventually they just settled on letting me own it. And we watched it at University of the Arts. There was an auditorium, and we would always often sneak in there, and they had a Blu-ray player and everything, and really good sound system, and so we would just put on all kinds of stuff, watch that in there, and it was pretty wonderful watching Do You Remember Love in there.
NDKF says, I'm sure how you feel about these kinds of people, but I think about guys who preach how animation is for everyone and they show the most ugly and unkind stuff.
The most ugly, and I mean, yeah, like usually, like I'm when it comes to animation, yeah, I get a little, I don't know, I'm just, you know, I'm pretty classical when it comes to it, and I really do believe a lot of the standards have kind of gone out the window lately, because people will say like, oh, there's more animation coming out, but I'm saying like, well, a lot of these shows just they just don't look good, or I feel like, you know, there's a lot of compromises being made, which, you know, is gonna happen. Alright, but yeah, I do agree, it's alright.
Harry Henry says, I'm not a fan of how that crowd only features mainstream American stuff, maybe some anime, but nothing from Europe.
Whew.
Is this the guy?
I don't know. Hold on a second. Try to look it up.
NDKS says, I think compared to most, the way you talk about animation is a lot more higher of standards than most other people, especially regarding your Wings of...
Oniami's?
Yeah, video.
Yeah, I think, and I do, yeah, because I do believe, you know, in some objective standards for art.
And then Harry Henry says, I like what I like kind of guy with animation and video games, past or present.
Yeah. Yeah, same. It's just like, if it appeals to me, if it's good, it feels true, it feels sincere and, you know, genuine, then yeah, like, that's why I like it.
Phil says, I think this quote from Frederick Bach sums it up well. In my opinion, it would be better if fewer films were made, but with a higher quality message, as well as better production. It would be preferable that you see the same interesting film 2, 3, or 10 times, rather than seeing once a film that disappears in thin air, ephemeral, and unregretted.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's a good quote, Phil. That's something I kind of maintain a lot. Is just like, you know, sometimes I wish I don't want more content. I want fewer content but better content, and so that's why, you know, I don't really watch a lot of TV shows. We don't have streaming services and stuff. I usually just, what's on my shelf is what I watch, and you know, I like to just kind of parse out my viewing time during the day, you know, just work on art and stuff and read and other things. But yeah, no. So this is a good stream. This was fun.
Ooh, you got a few other...
Oh, yeah, let's take a look at the last ones.
So MD Chaos says, I think it's a lot easier to see things regarding animation that are genuine and sincere from Japan and Europe than it is in America. At least that's in my experience.
Yeah, it's definitely true. In Japan, like, there's a whole other tone to the things that are coming out in terms of music and just the stories going on, which is why, why just like kind of it feels like a whole other, like it's a whole other world, and it's a good reprieve from like a lot of the Hollywood stuff today.
And then Patrick Lehigh says, FYI, Transmet is the title, Spider is the main protagonist. From the way you were talking, it seems you had read the comic book, and you had the pronunciation perfect, my dude.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I actually haven't read it, but I'm familiar with, having seen... I know friends who read it in high school, and there would be... I'd see it around the comic book stores. Yeah, I may have to give that a look then, because lately I've been delving into all kinds of comics and stuff. Some things that were a little out of my wheelhouse, too. Like, I recently read something... I read King City by Brandon Graham, and it was like... It was really weird, and it was funny, and it was also not the sort of thing I ever would think of reading, but someone recommended it to me, and it just... It's like 2010 culture, or like the around then, just kind of encapsulated, but it was fun. Yeah. And I'm reading, I think currently, yeah, because I'm always renting, like checking out comics from the library and stuff, but anyway, was there something else?
Harry Henry says, thank you, this has been a lot of fun. Hope to catch you next time.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. This turned into a nice little hangout.
Yeah, it was really nice. Are these all WAD people?
No, some of them are. I know MDKS from Twitter when I was on Twitter the first time.
Oh.
Yeah, but and some other people are from my YouTube like followers and stuff. So yeah, thank you everyone for turning out for this. This is really fun.
Patrick Lehigh says must read, and I like dogs. Trust me, it will make you smile later. Phil says good show.
Thanks. Yeah. All right. Well.
Good night.
Good night.